Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you've been doing well. Okay, so today's video is going to be kind of different for me. Please bear with me. I'm going to try to do a pack with me video. So this was a suggested video from my friend Amber. She runs the business Amia Vintage on Instagram. I will link to that in my description box below. She has some really beautiful vintage Chanel pieces and really great prices. So I would definitely recommend checking her page out. And she suggested doing a pack with me video. And I was kind of hesitant at first, if I'm totally honest, because there's a reason why I haven't done a pack with me video so far, even though I travel a fair amount. I'm the kind of person that starts packing like at least a minimum a week before. I am kind of slowly packing throughout the entire week up until my departure. And so I just kind of felt like that was not super conducive to a pack with me video. And then on top of that, I live in a small apartment and just the space to film and pack, I just kind of felt like this would be challenging. So it is kind of messy, as you can see. What you don't see is an even bigger mess around the camera area. But I figured I would try to do this, and this might be a disaster, who knows, but thanks for sticking with me and we'll see how this goes, I guess. So in a recent video, I did share that I am in the middle of transitioning jobs. And one nice thing about that was for the first time in my entire adult career, I was really able to negotiate a later start date. And this is all because I have a trip to Scotland coming up in the early part of July. So I'm actually not starting that job until middle of July after I get back from that trip. But because the timing was weird between giving 2 weeks at my current place and then going on this trip, that kind of meant that I'd only really have 2 weeks to start the new job before I went on the trip. So the new company and I both mutually agreed that it would be better for me to wait until I got back from that trip to Scotland and then start the job there. Hopefully that makes sense. So what ended up happening was I had this like extra 2 weeks between my trip to Scotland, and I already had this pre-planned trip to Seattle coming up this weekend. If you guys don't know, I'm actually originally from Seattle. So this was pre-planned from like months ago, and I already had tickets to a soccer game. I already had plans to see friends, so I didn't want to mess with that trip. But what I ended up doing was I ended up changing my return flight from Seattle to San Francisco, and instead on Monday, I'm going to be flying directly from Seattle to Tokyo, and then I'll be there for about a week, a little less than a week, and then I'll come back to San Francisco, and then I'm going to be here for a few days, and then I'm going to go to Scotland. So by the time you watch this, I'll probably either be in Japan or I might already be back from Japan. It really depends on how I have time to edit. But that is kind of the long story about why I'm doing this pack with me video right now. So this trip is going to be a little bit different since I'm spending the first part of it in Seattle and then I'm going to Tokyo. And what I'm going to be doing actually is, don't think my boyfriend is coming with me to Japan. It's still like TBD. So I think he is coming back to San Francisco as of right now on Monday. Some of the stuff that I'm going to wear in Seattle, I'm going to give to him to bring back to San Francisco because I'm not going to need it in Japan and I don't want to take it with me if I don't have to. So the packing for this is going to be kind of weird just because there's that Seattle portion, there's that Tokyo portion. I checked the weather in Tokyo. It is going to be so humid and it's going to be really hot. So I'm not looking forward to that part of it. And the other thing is I'm going to be bringing pretty much an empty suitcase and an empty carry-on. So I have the empty carry-on within a larger suitcase, and that is pretty much going to be filled with like anything I ended up buying in Tokyo to bring back to the States. So I do have some shopping that I want to do, and then I have friends who have told me that they want certain items, so I want to get those for them. And then the carry-on suitcase is going to go in the larger suitcase on the way there, and then on the way back, the carry-on is going to come with me onto the airplane. If it has anything valuable like handbags or anything expensive I might have bought on the trip, I'm going to put on the carry-on so that it's with me and not in the checked luggage, if that makes sense. So the suitcase that I'm currently packing is going to be the medium away suitcase, and this is the flex options. It does have the capacity to expand a little bit, which is great. Hopefully I'm not going to need that for this portion, but we'll see how the packing goes. Yeah, the first thing I'm going to do is I have pretty much packed all my clothes and that's ready to go. Let me just move this a little bit so I have some space. So I like to use packing cubes, but the only thing I don't use packing cubes for are my jeans. I like to roll my jeans at the very bottom, and I like to try to put everything that's kind of on the heavier side on the bottom of the suitcase where the wheels are. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. My jeans here, and I have a packing cube here, and I'm just gonna kind of place all the packing cubes in a way that I feel like would make sense. So here are a pair of shoes. I'm just gonna tuck in right here. I'm also bringing my Hermes Oran sandals to Tokyo. This has all my socks and underwear. I am bringing a rain jacket. This is from Uniqlo, and this is just super lightweight and it packs very, very easily. This is one of the favorite things I travel with. This is kind of like a travel plug, so you only need one plug. So you can see right here. There's that. And then it does have 2 USB slots on the top as well as 3 plugs right here. The great thing about Japan is that the plugs are the same, so I can totally bring this and this will work just fine. And I'm kind of squeezing in just like the smaller things in between the packing cubes. So here are my vitamins, and I do have a plastic cover around it just in case one of these pops in flight, and that way it still stays in the plastic bag. This is a portable fan that I just bought off of Amazon. It's gonna be so hot in Tokyo. And basically what you do is you just pop it out and you do this. And so I think I'm gonna use this when I'm walking around and it's really, really hot. And then the other thing I like to travel with is I love to travel with yoga toes, especially on a trip where I know I'm going to be walking a ton. At the end of the day, I like to pop these on my feet and kind of stretch out my toes a little bit, and it just really feels good on my feet, so I like these. I know this is weird, but I always pack instant coffee with me because you just never know when you're going to need it. I'm also bringing a sun hat because it's probably going to be pretty sunny. So here is a clear bag that I'm gonna need for the game, and to save space I put some other items in here. So I put a hair drying diffuser attachment in here, as well as some extra vitamins and another little pouch with some other personal items in here. I'm also bringing a portable squatty potty. And here's my toiletry case. It's gigantic. This is the CalPack one, and it is the larger one, and it can fit so much. Here's my Louis Vuitton Trousse 23. After I pack this up for you guys, I will actually take this out again and show you everything that's in here. But this one has pretty much all my makeup in it. And here is my Sandro crochet tote bag. And this is gonna be one of the bags that I take to Japan with me. I feel like this will be a really good everyday bag just for running around the city and doing a lot of shopping. I also have a baseball cap. This is another little pouch that has some toiletries in it as well. I generally don't check suitcases unless it's for a long trip. So obviously for this, I do need to check my suitcase. But I would say generally I'm pretty much a carry-on only kind of person. However, whenever I do check a suitcase, here is something that I always do, no matter what, if I'm checking a suitcase. I have a piece of paper. I write down the name of the hotel or the Airbnb address, as well as the phone number. And then tucked behind this is my actual personal information, which I'm obviously not going to show on camera. But I always have this, and then I stick it at the very top so that when you open the suitcase, that is the first thing that you see. Because if your suitcase gets lost, and if for some reason your identification tags get torn off, or they get damaged, or they're unreadable, anyone who opens your suitcase can see the contact information and see where you're staying and see the name of the hotel or the address of the Airbnb, as well as the phone number. And then I also put in my personal information behind that so that they could contact me directly. So this is something that I always do, definitely recommend. Here it is. This is all packed up and ready to go for my trip. This is the Away medium suitcase, and it's not extended at this point, but it does have that capacity just in case I need to, which is great. And then, just to show you guys, Here is the larger away suitcase over here, and this one has the carry-on inside it. So that way I have the flexibility to bring a lot of stuff back if I want to. Okay, so this is the portion of the video where I'm going to go through and show you in detail how I pack my Trousse 23 pouch, and here it is again. I did buy this pre-owned and I did get this off of Farfetch, and I really love this for travel. So here it is again on the inside, and I did a pretty recent video comparing these pouches to the other LV pouches as well as the Kuyana makeup pouches, so I will link to that in case you missed it. But for the trip, I'm going to go ahead and take this one, and let me just show you guys how I pack it. Now this trip is only going to be about 10 days total, and I'm not going to do any super fancy events, so I don't really need really extensive makeup. It's also going to be super hot in Tokyo, and I really don't want my makeup to just kind of be melting off my face. I've been there in the summertime before, and it's just really humid. I'm going to keep the makeup fairly minimal. The other thing is, I don't wear a ton of lipstick these days, and that is because, as you guys know, I have Invisalign right now, and Invisalign is kind of a pain. I am so ready for this to be over, but one thing I've noticed since I started wearing Invisalign is because I already have to take my trays in and out before I eat, adding lipstick to that mix just like doesn't, it's just like a step too far for me. Like, I just don't want to get lipstick on the trays, like getting them in and out of my mouth. Like, everything about this has been such a pain, but that's neither here or there. So I'm going to be taking like a little bit of lip balm and maybe one lipstick with me, but I'm not going to be going crazy. So yeah, my makeup is going to be fairly minimal for this trip, and let me show you how I'm going to pack it. So the first thing is, I do have my sunscreen right here. This could go in my toiletry case, but I'm just going to put it in my makeup case. I also have this Rare Beauty primer. And I have this Lancome concealer. I'm not going to bring foundation with me. I'm just going to bring concealer for touch-ups. And then I do have this mascara right here. So these are all items that I want to make sure they stay upright. So I'm going to stick them in these little elastic sections right here. And everything else can kind of just go in on the bottom part. So I have a compact right here. This is just kind of to wipe up any sort of excess oil. Here is a mini flawless filter. So this will be just for a little bit of highlight. I have one travel brush with me right here. And I have a little bit of an eyeshadow palette. And this is just a travel blush. It's really tiny. These will go into the side pockets. Kind of like that. So here I just have some eyeshadow sticks and some eyeliners. I have this Tatcha finishing powder. I also have this RMS highlighter. A little setting spray. These are the two lip products I'm bringing with me. This is the Lip Glow from Christian Dior, and this is just travel size of the Charlotte Tilbury lipstick. I love this stuff. This is the Laneige lip mask. I have an eyelash curler here, and I also use this to comb out my lashes. I have a little mirror. This is where I keep my beauty blender, and it's inside. The rest of my brushes go in here, and this just kind of keeps them separated from the rest of the items, which is nice, and kind of keeps the bristles more protected, and they can fit on top like this. I do need to move this around a little bit. So I just kind of stick the beauty blender and the brushes on the very top, and then I can close the bag. And there it is, all packed up and ready to go for my trip. All right, so we have moved on to the carry-on portion of the packing video, and this is by the brand Bagsmart, and I got this bag kind of a while ago, I want to say. This one I feel like is really good for international trips because for longer flights, as you guys know, I do like to carry a lot more with me. And I feel like for international flights, especially the long haul international flights, they are a little bit more lenient in terms of the size of your personal item, just because I feel like so many people check their bags for international flights. And so I kind of feel like there isn't as much competition for the overhead space, and in my experience at least, they just seem to be a lot more lenient about what you can take on the plane with you. And I've definitely been able to get away with bigger carry-on items or bigger personal items. I do have two of these. I have a pink version of this, which is the smaller size, and that is great for domestic trips. But since I'm going to Japan and I want a bigger bag that's going to be my personal item that I take on the plane with me, I feel like this is going to be a really good one. And so what I really like about this in particular is that it has the trolley sleeve right here, as you guys can see. I pretty much need this for all my carry-on bags for the airplane. Like, I'm just kind of at the stage in my life with how much travel I do where if the bag doesn't come with the trolley sleeve, it's just not going to be my personal item. Like, that's kind of a requirement for me at this point. And it does have a lot of great pockets. So this is a pocket right here. It's kind of hard to tell, I'm sorry, because I know this is black. I might do maybe another video with the pink one that's smaller for a future domestic trip. But right now, since I'm packing this one, I'm going to do my best to show you guys. But there are so many different pockets in here. There's ones for your laptop, there's ones for your water bottle. There's just a lot of pockets to keep things organized, which I really appreciate. So I'm going to show you how I pack my carry-on for an international trip. So the first thing I have is this travel mirror, and this is really great because it's slim, but it does have this kind of LED light. Let me try to show you guys. So there is an LED light feature right here, as you guys can see, and then you can kind of adjust the lighting. And yeah, I really, really like this for travel. I don't put it in my checked suitcase though, because this is the third one I have because I keep breaking the others. And even in my carry-on, if I put it in a suitcase, it's just gonna get squished, and basically what happens is the mirror cracks. And so I've learned my lesson. I keep it in this like styrofoam protective sleeve, and then I just put it in my personal item. And there is a pocket that is perfect for that. So that fits right there. This is also black, so it's going to be hard to see, but I also have my Bose headphones. These are noise canceling headphones that I pretty much use for all sorts of long trips. This is the Calpac Tech Organizer. This is just a spare battery, and then all my extra chargers are in here. This has everything I need for the plane. It has wipes, a face mask, snacks, Advil, lotion, all that stuff. And then face masks are on the back right here. And this one is by Anya Hindmarch. So I basically switched back and forth between this one and the Louis Vuitton Nice BB, kind of depending on the trip. I have my trusty mini pochette. This is the LV Karigami. This is the largest one, I believe, and my iPad mini fits perfectly in here. I also have my Kindle, which I'm not packing just yet because I'm still charging it, but that fits right on top perfectly as well, and they both fit perfectly in this case. This, as you guys know, is my Gucci crossbody, and this is my trusty bag that I pretty much take on all international trips with me. It is just the best travel bag. It's so flat, it packs perfectly. And yeah, in here I have I'm going to Seattle this weekend, so I have my Orca card in here. I'm also going to use this for my Suica card in Tokyo, so I wanted to bring this along. And this obviously goes without saying, but I never ever pack my designer jewelry or designer handbags in a checked luggage, just because I don't want to deal with it getting lost. Obviously, there are some times where you have to pack some more valuables in your checked luggage. Like, for example, my Hermes shoes go in my checked luggage, and that would really suck to lose those, but I would rather lose a pair of shoes than a handbag. I have my Kuyana pouch here, and inside this is some important documents. So I have a card holder, I have my passport, and then I have my Hermes Bastia. This has some leftover yen coins in here. I'm just going to keep these all in this pouch to stay organized, and so I know this is the pouch with all the important valuables in it. So I'm taking my Sandro crochet tote bag, I'm taking my Gucci crossbody, and I'm taking the Celine bag. And I think those are the only bags I'm taking with me. So let me just show you guys how I packed it. So I have the Celine bag right here. The straps are inside. So I have a pair of Chanel sunglasses in here. And I'm kind of debating, I may swap them out for my Gentle Monster sunglasses. So I have the Gentle Monster case right here, and I love these sunglasses, but I think they're a little loose around the ears, and I know Tokyo has a Gentle Monster store, so I'm actually thinking about taking these instead of the Chanel ones just so I can get them fitted more precisely for my face, but I might bring them both. I haven't decided, so I'm gonna just put this in here for now. So we'll see if I take both or just one of them. I'm not 100% sure yet. So there's still plenty of room. The only thing I haven't packed yet is my laptop, which will just go right back here. There's a really nice space right here, like a side pocket for your laptop. And what else? Oh, I also have this foldable tote bag, and then I have an empty water bottle, which will go right there. And yeah, I think that is it. Basically, all I need to do is pack my Kindle, pack my laptop, and then my keys. And then I should be good to go. So it does zip up very nicely. It is a little bit on the heavy side, but that's okay because it's going to go on top of one of my suitcases. And the other great thing about this is that what I like about this bag is that it comes out like this, where you can expand it a little bit more. But if you want to kind of minimize it a little bit, you're a little afraid that maybe gate agents are going to flag you for having too big of a carry-on or something like that, is you can kind of push the sides down and snap the sides in place. And that really kind of minimizes the look of the bag a little bit. So there are snap buttons on either side that kind of just make the bag look a little bit smaller, if that makes sense. I think it also helps that this bag is black, so it's a little bit deceptive in terms of how big it really is. So yeah, I would say for international flights, I've had very good luck. I haven't had anyone try to say that this bag is too big. For domestic flights, I don't really know because I usually board first since I have status with Alaska Airlines, and I generally fly Alaska whenever I can. So I think one of the nice things about having elite status is that when you board early and there's still plenty of space for carry-on items, I don't really feel like they flag you until you're kind of in the leader boarding groups. So for that reason, I've also taken this on domestic trips as well, and I haven't had an issue. But like I said, I do have the smaller version of this exact same bag in pink, and that's a really good carry-on personal item bag as well. So yeah, I think I will leave it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this pack with me video. I know it was a little bit out of my comfort zone, and I know it's definitely not as polished as some of the other pack with me videos that I have seen. So I appreciate you sticking with me, but I would still really, really appreciate it if you would give this video a thumbs up, and if you would also subscribe to my channel. That would mean the world to me. And with that, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.